As the golden sun begins its descent behind the silvery clouds, the brightness of a summer day slowly turns to bronze. Another cycle complete. Day is done. Obviously, you haven't been in Indy lately. In a city monikered as the racing capital of the world, a long-running stock car tradition unveils its 15th chapter tonight at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Since 1982, the NASCAR Busch Series has played to capacity IRP crowds who have cheered legendary names to victory lane. Except for Morgan Shepherd, no other driver has made that final left-hand turn more than once. Now a new generation of Busch Series stars has arrived. At the front of the pack is a 1994 Busch champion and current point leader, David Green. He's joined by defending Kroger 200 winner, Jason Keller. In tonight's lineup are 4 other former winners of this race. Are they the only ones with the right key to victory lane? Well, you and more than 35,000 are in the right seat to find out. The Kroger 200 is coming at you next. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, welcomes you live to the NASCAR Busch Series Kroger 200 at Indianapolis Raceway Park in Clermont, Indiana. A sold-out crowd for the 15th year. The NASCAR Busch Series stars and cars get to experience Hoosier hysteria firsthand, and that's part of that crowd of 35,000 who have jammed their way into the grandstands here to watch what should be an exciting 200-lap Busch Series event. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch along with Ned Jarrett. And Ned, every year I look forward to this race. I mean, I enjoy all the Busch Series races, but coming here, remember, it was the Busch Series that brought NASCAR to Indianapolis in 1982, and it took 12 years for the Winston Cup guys to wise up and get up here over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. These guys have known how exciting these fans are here.
They have put on some great shows on this racetrack, and I think we're in for a good one here tonight. You couldn't ask for the script to be any better. You got the points leader and the second place man up on the front row, and it's just going to be a great event, as we always see here at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Well, after 17 events, take a look at the point standings. We've got a veritable tie atop the standings. David Green just 44 points in front of Randy LaJoie. Now, Todd Bodine took that wild tumble at Talladega. He's 321 back. Jeff Green and Curtis Markham rounding out the top 5. And as you said, Ned, the script, incredible. Jason Keller, Phil Parsons, Jeff Purvis, Chad Little, and the Dickster back there, Dick Trickle, in 10th spot overall in the point standings. He's trying to run both the Winston Cup and the Busch Series. Now, we mentioned the top 2 guys qualified first and second, but that's not exactly how they are. Actually, David Green qualified second and Randy LaJoie first. But for more at the front of the field, let's check in with one of our pit reporters, Bill Weber.
Well, Randy LaJoie sits in Ellie Mae. It's his favorite car. In fact, it got him his first ever Busch Series win at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Then he took it to South Boston, had a great race, but got wrecked early. So they patched up the car and took it to Myrtle Beach. But they got to the middle of the Myrtle Beach race and found out that the frame was bent. Randy had a bad day. They fixed that car, brought it here. He put it on the pole. He says he will win here tonight. But first, he's got to beat some other guys, like David Green. Green is the points leader, as Jerry mentioned, 44 points ahead of Randy LaJoie. The man starting third is Jeff Fuller. He's never won a Busch Series race, but if you walked along pit road late this afternoon, he was a popular pick to be near or at the front of the field at the end of the day. Then there's Todd Bodine, who's had a great season in his Cape Canaveral Cruise Line car, but late this afternoon in final practice, he cruised into the wall and did some heavy damage to the right side. The crew worked on this car up until 1 hour ago. Todd has not been in it since it hit the wall. His first laps will come here under green flag conditions.
Well, Ned, if that had been a cruise ship, that would have sunk with the way you hit this afternoon about 3:15. Todd Bodine, got to give a call to that crew. They worked literally, just as hard as they could to get that car on the line about 15 minutes ago. So it should be a wild battle up front with the front 2 guys in the points on the front row.
Well, I can't wait for it to get started. Yeah, we've got some great competition and guys who know how to win on this type of a racetrack.
Well, some different rules here as far as the tires and fuel and different kinds of strategies. For more, why don't we check in with the Double D, Dave Despain.
Well, I think the big story, Like this costume? I think the big story is the requirement that these teams only get 2 sets of tires to make the race, and that means that tire strategy is going to be critical. The tire this year is harder than last year, and last year they wore out a bunch of them. This year, there's very little drop-off on the tires, and the crews say in a perfect world, they'd run a third of the race, get a yellow, put on the first set, run another third, get a yellow, put on the last set, and go to the checkered flag. It never works out that way, so the key is going to be the gamble on track position. Do you want to come in knowing the tires are still pretty good and get a fresh set, or do you want to stay out and get the track position, because it's very difficult to pass on this racetrack? We'll see a lot of tire strategy here this evening. Fuel, they're good to about 125 laps, give or take a few. That shouldn't be the driving issue regarding the pit stops, because we'll have a lot of yellows. Back topside.
Well, Dave, the booms you hear in the background, that's locals celebrating the first time they've ever seen Dave Despain in a fire suit at Indianapolis Raceway Park. No, actually fireworks going on as they are getting ready to unleash 36 cars. When we come back, we'll tell you who qualified, who didn't, and we'll tell you about how Busch Series racing has become a family affair for the Houstons. Back in a moment. Our ESPN Speed Road coverage of the NASCAR Kroger 200 from Indianapolis Raceway Park is being brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. By Texaco Havoline Formula 3 motor oil, controls volatility and fights vaporization. And by Chevrolet, one car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR, genuine Chevrolet. Field is pulled off behind the safety car, 36 strong, as they continue to sweep some on the back straightaway. Ned, arguably, many believe this may be the most competitive among the 11 NASCAR Touring Series. The drivers like to say, hey, we run half as many laps as our big brothers in Winston Cup. That's because we have twice as much competition.
Well, I tell you, when you look at the times of the starting field here tonight, just a little over a third of a second separating first and last. I mean, that is close competition.
And and by that virtue of that fact of being so close, almost a dozen guys went home. Look at Tony Stewart. I mean, who knows this track better than the Rushville Rocket Tony Stewart, who may sub, as you heard earlier tonight on Speed Week. Tony Stewart may get in for Rocket Rodney Combs, still ailing somewhat from that tumble he took at Talladega. Ron Thiel, Mark Day, Mike Cope, Chris Diamond, short track specialist from North Carolina, Joe Bessie, Glenn Sullivan, Randy Porter, Mike Laughlin Jr., Jabe Jones, and Calvin Redwine, who had an accident early yesterday. Those 11 cars will not start the field. And, of course, this crowd ready to watch the guys who will start. So while they're working on the track, the crew's now waving to some of the guys as they go by. Let's check in once again with Dave Despain.
Well, for the crews, as they get ready to go out and do their business, this is the last moment of respite, if you will, before the real tenseness begins, because they really are only going to get, in all likelihood, 2 chances to help their driver. Again, it's a tough racetrack on which to pass. If you can get by a guy in the pits, thanks to good work by the crew, you save a tremendous amount of effort on the racetrack trying to gain positions, and that saves wear and tear on the tires. Let's talk a little bit more about the round black things that Goodyear's brought here. As we said, it's a harder tire. The first 5 drivers have to race the tires that they qualified. One of the things the crews have done is try to match up sets. They take the number, the batch number off the tire and try to get as close as possible in sequence. That is one guarantee that these tires will be consistent. We talked to one team that put on a set that were mismatched yesterday and lost a half a second, and it really hurt them in their effort to qualify. Tire management, a key word here tonight. Back up top.
And why don't we check in before we start one more time with Bill Weber. Bill?
Well, Dr. Punch, a couple of things to keep in mind tonight. First of all, how about some family relationships in this field? Like young Andy Houston, he's starting the Zero car, sponsored by Suburban Propane. In the last practice before first round qualifying, Andy backed that car into the wall. The crew had virtually given up on trying to make first round, but they got out a hammer, got it fixed, got him in the show. He's in the show with his dad. We've got a couple of other brothers, the Green brothers and the Sadler brothers. A family affair tonight here in Indianapolis.
So family affair racing. Why don't we take a look at the starting lineup of the Suzuki starting grid as that Pontiac safety car leads them down out of turn 4, Ned. 36 cars will start, and Randy LaJoie continues the string. No driver has ever won the pole here more than once. The 15th different driver to win it. LaJoie becomes that one tonight. Row 2, how about Fuller starting in third spot, Ned?
They're getting ready to go green here in just a few moments, so we'll take a look at the starting lineup as we go through the field here. You see Hermie Sadler starting back there in the 10th position. There's Nathan Butke and Chuck Bowen.
Mark Green, the middle brother of the Greens. Glenn Allen Jr., the rookie driver. There's Tommy Houston. Jason Keller, who won it a year ago. Andy Houston, the youngster, 25 years of age. Tracy Leslie, a former winner here. Larry Pearson, the former two-time series champion. Dennis Setzer back there, row 13.
Some awfully good race cars starting far back in this field.
36 will start. It's 200 laps, 137.2 miles. The purse, $243,434. As they will come honking out of turn 4, Carl Simmons ready to wave the green hanky. And folks, all 35,000 of you are on their feet as we are set to race at IRP. Completed Indianapolis Raceway Park, and Ellie Mae is tiptoeing away up front. That's the name of the car. As you heard Bill Weber say, that Randy LaJoie qualified here on the pole. Same car he set on the pole with earlier at South Boston, Virginia. And Ned, early on, that's not a good sign for the rest of the field.
Boy, it isn't. He is just taken off. He was a little bit concerned about starting on the inside, but he got the jump on David Green. Since the groove here is basically on the outside, especially through the turns, but Green didn't get an advantage, and Randy LaJoie has checked out.
Jeff Green had just make a pass to take over the 4th spot in the car number 3, the Goodwrench Chevrolet, the Teresa Earnhardt-owned car. Actually, he is back in 5th position, started 6th. In the final practice, he was considered one of the quicker cars here. Many thought he might pick up that first win tonight. That's the car number 3 we're talking about, right behind the beaten and battered car of Todd Bodine. Looks beneath Bodine and can't quite make the move.
Well, he passed the car number 63 of Curtis Markham on the outside, and now trying to pass Todd Bodine on the inside.
There's a 61 of Danny Edwards, the Pegasus, Virginia driver, making only his 3rd Busch start of the 1996 season after a great qualifying effort in 7th. He is dropping back a little bit here after the green flag is dropped.
I would say that he just wants to get himself a good, comfortable position, which is smart. No more experience than he has in this type of competition. It'd be good to just get himself a position there that he can just ride along with them, stay out of trouble, and just gain experience, make laps.
Riding along on the roof cam of Phil Parsons. That's the Channel Lock Tool Chevrolet. Phil had to take a provisional starting spot. Very unusual for Phil Parsons, who's been very competitive and a former two-time winner in this Busch Series.
Yeah, he told me today that he just couldn't get the car to go in qualifying. He said, I think we got a good race car for the race, but he said we just couldn't get it to go fast for a lap.
That's the Slim Jim View. Jason Keller won this race a year ago. Brought back the same car, his lucky car. It's his only Busch Series win, so it's time for this one to do it again. We'll ride along with Jason tonight as he tries to work his way through traffic. Started back in 20th spot. There's Danny Edwards, the 61 car, and Keller right behind him. Ed, from the roof camera shots, you can see that the inside of this racetrack is virtually flat. The groove is up near the wall. That's where the banking is.
Yeah, there's not very much banking up there either. Just about 8 degrees in turns 3 and 4, and 6 degrees down in turns 1 and 2. So that's not a great deal. And here we go as Jeff Green still trying to make the pass on Todd Bodine. They get together and they spin down to the inside of the racetrack.
And Green all goes head-on over Bodine, and they both ended up crashing against the inside wall. They were battling for 4th and 5th. Actually, they were battling for 4th. Neither one of them wanted 5th. But that has probably ended both of their nights. Boy, Todd Bodine just can't catch a break, and Jeff Green, having one of the best race cars here in that final practice session, his car still hasn't refired. What's left of the front end?
No, and Todd thinks he might be able to get back and get that car fixed, but I'll tell you, he's really torn it up. Here they come off of turn 4, and it looks like that Jeff Green gets into Todd just a little bit, spins him around, and then Curtis Markham had nowhere to go. He hits them, and as you said, Jeff Green's car goes up on top of Todd Bodine's car, and they spin down to the inside, at least out of the way of the oncoming traffic.
Here's a different angle, looking down toward turn 4, and watch Markham's car get the 3-car launched in the air almost over Todd Bodine and over the pit wall.
Jeff Green hit that pit wall just about head on. Hard lick.
Well, that's what's left of the Cape Canaveral efforts, and the Goodrich Chevrolet not much better. The front end of that car sheared away, as now Jeff Green will climb out and probably call it a night. Under the caution for the first time here at IRP. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, under caution here early, just 11 laps into it, and boy, how quickly things can change. 2 of the drivers in the top 5 in the point standings have had a major confrontation here. Todd Bodine and Jeff Green coming together out of turn 4, and that's what's left of Jeff Green's car. Look at it once again.
Okay, as they come off of turn 4, it looks like the Jeff Green Chevrolet maybe tapped the rear of Todd Bodine's car, spinning Todd sideways down into Jeff Green, and then Green goes head on into the pit wall, and Bodine comes in under it.
Take a look from the in-car. Let's see if we can see a little bit different angle. Boy, Green hit it a ton of that concrete wall. Concrete walls don't ever lose.
He had an awfully good race car too, Jeff Green did have.
Boom.
Well, that's some of the stuff that happened back behind.
That happened
when they
behind
slowed down.
That's the Peebles Department Store in-car that took a little bit of a punishment there, and then Hermie Sadler's car. Let's check in with Dave Despain.
Those are replays that will be not fun for Jeff Green to watch. What happened from your viewpoint, Jeff?
I don't know. I got in the back of Todd a little bit. He got a little bit loose, and I don't know if he checked up or not, but he got into the wall and come back in front of me. I hate it for these guys, man. They worked their tail off. This car was awesome. We had a car to win the race tonight, and not going to be able to do it now, so it's a bad deal.
From the look of that, you took a heck of a lick. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. My pride's hurt awful lot, and I tell you, it hurts me a lot more that the car we had. We was awesome right off the truck, and we just can't show it tonight.
See you next time. That's the real frustration, when you've got one you think you can win and you don't get the opportunity to show it.
Boy, indeed, Double D. There's Curtis Markham's Lysol Pontiac Grand Prix, crumpled and shortened by about 6 inches. That's the front of the Hubert and Jeff Hensley car, and he happened to be in the unfortunate position of being right behind Jeff Green and actually picked the rear end of that Goodrich Chevrolet up. Looks like he's none the worse for wear. May lose a little downforce on the front end, but otherwise appears to be running okay.
Yeah, he thinks he's okay. He didn't want to give up the track position that he has there, so he stayed out there. And it doesn't look like, other than just sheet metal there, there's too much damage.
You know, Ned, apart from the accident itself, what's got to kill Jeff Green is the fact that when I strolled through the pits a little while ago, and you did as well, many in there said this may be Jeff Green's night. He has probably one of, if not the best race cars here, and so we feel like this guy may get his first win. And now, just 13 laps in, he's in the garage area.
Yeah, that's too bad. Let's go to the pits and Bill Weber.
Standing by with Todd Bodine, who's really had a spectacular season, making something out of nothing when the season started. But this is very disappointing, Todd. What happened?
Well, you know, we had that practice wreck, and I told Jeff and the guys that started around me to be careful. I was going to run a little easy, make sure the car was under me, and the car was under me. It was pretty good, just a tick loose, but you know, I was trying to keep the tires on it and just get a pace going. It's only the 5th lap of the race, and Jeff just got a good run off the corner and got in the back of me. And nothing we could do about it. It's a shame, you know, Cape Canaveral and Glacier Ridge, Adidas and LCI, all these people have been sticking with us. We've had such a good car the last 7 or 8 races. I mean, it's a shame we just cannot capitalize on these good race cars. We've run strong, we've run up front, and it seems like every week we're getting caught up in somebody else's mess.
Okay, that's Todd Bodine. Green about to come back out.
Boy, what a shame for 2 drivers in the top 5 in points. Well, Ellie Mae pulls away again as the green flag waves, and we'll see this time maybe if David Green and company can hang on. A little shuffling and shunting in the back as they took the green flag back about 15, 16 spot. That's Tracy Leslie back there. He got a little bit of a fender bender with the car number 24. That's Mike Harmon. Now Leslie tries to get underneath Harmon again. They sort of had a little tap on that start. Behind him is Kevin LePage and an ailing rockin' Rodney Combs in the car number 43.
Rodney don't need any more bang-ups. He had a toughen up one at Talladega last Saturday. Still hard racing back there in the pack. It's single file racing up front, excepting that Hermie Sadler's on the inside of Dale Jarrett.
This battle you're watching back 21st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There's Mike Wallace in the Duran Paints car. He gets it out of shape. Former winner here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Won this race back 2 years ago. Racing all over this 5/8 mile facility. Here's Nathan Butke, 5th and 6th. Being separated here by less than 4 feet. Nathan Butke in the 66 car. Hermie Sadler, the DeWalt Power Tool Chevrolet.
Just a lap ago, Hermie Sadler was on the inside of Dale Jarrett for 5th, and then he found himself caught up in a battle for 6th, but now he's pulled away from that battle back there. Nathan Butke down on the inside, and I'll tell you, it's tough to pass down there on this racetrack. The pavement is flat. It's just tough to get traction.
That's Tim Fita was Kleenex Ford Thunderbird, the Doug Taylor Motorsports team car number 40 that actually benefited from that little battle. He was able to take the 7th spot away from Butke. The 1 car, that's Sadler, left side of your screen. Then the 40 car is Fita. Great story about what happened to that team. If you're not a Busch Series regular watcher, you may not know, but they lost both their race cars, all 3 engines. Their entire truck went up in flames about a month ago on the way to Watkins Glen when a wheel bearing had a problem.
Oh, there's trouble. That's coming off of turn 4. Mike Wallace involved. Caution is flying. Looks like everybody's going to be able to pull away, Jerry, but that was a mad scramble there for a moment.
Well, we were following that gaggle for a while. We knew something was happening. That was a wreck looking for a place to happen. Those cars back 21st to 25th, they were just inches apart, and unfortunately the one that took the brunt of that was Mike Wallace.
Well, let's see what happened. There's Mike Wallace down on the inside. He's in the green and black, number 90, and is that Mike Harmon up on the outside? The 00 of
that's Mike Harmon out of Birmingham.
Yeah, it is.
24 car.
Both have black cars, so it is Mike Harmon. That Mike Wallace and he got together in the turn. Here it is again. Mike just lost traction on the 90 car.
Nice move by Chad Little on the right side to get by. Watch him go just beneath Harmon's car.
Yeah, there could have been a lot more cars involved than were.
Well, we're 21 laps into it. We told you it would be exciting as Harmon and Wallace discussed what just happened a moment ago up in 4. We'll come back with more after this from IRP. Back at a sold-out Indianapolis Raceway Park for the NASCAR Kroger 200. We're under caution for the 2nd time tonight, getting ready to go back to green. First incident, lap 8, Ned. Front straightaway, a couple of cars getting airborne. This one laps 21 to 24.
Looking at Hermie Sadler's car.
Randy LaJoy. In-car cameras. There is Phil Parsons' channel lock roof cam.
And Stevie Reeves.
And Jason Keller, the Slim Jim CarQuest roof cam or inside cam, car camera.
And the man up front is Randy LaJoy. David Green 2nd. In 3rd is the Jeff Fuller car. Chuck Bounds moved up to 4th around Dale Jarrett. Jarrett's 5th.
Lap 25 of 200. And Randy said, I just did this a moment ago and I pulled about 4 or 5 car lengths. Now I got to do it all over again. And does the same thing. 4 car lengths over David Green out of 2.
He has a great race car that just accelerates so well. And there was Chuck Bound working on the car number 47 of Jeff Fuller. Bound seems to have a good race car here tonight, too. That's the car that's normally driven by his brother, Jim Bound. But Chuck's driving it tonight. Or at least he qualified it. I assume he's driving it tonight.
42-year-old Chuck Bound, the 51 car, the Barbasol Chevrolet, the 1990 Busch Series champion, having a whale of a run. That's the 47 of Jeff Fuller. Last year's Rookie of the Year and the former open-wheel modified series champion.
Ooh, they get together as they come off of turn 4. But they are able to hold on. Chuck gets on by. Dale Jarrett goes by. Here comes Hermie Sadler. Jeff Fuller lost 3 positions there in 1 turn. And he's about to lose another as Nathan Butke's on the inside of him. You're looking at 3rd and 4th there. Chuck Bound moved into 3rd. Jarrett moved into 4th. Hermie Sadler moved up to 5th. Jeff Fuller's car appears to be a little loose, Jerry. He just was not getting through the corners good.
Getting his best qualifying effort ever here tonight. Qualified third for the Auburn, Massachusetts driver. Sunoco-sponsored Chevrolet. There's the third-place runner, Chuck Bound. Dale Jarrett's Band-Aid Ford Thunderbird right behind him. Of course, Jarrett will start 24th tomorrow in the third annual Brickyard 400, currently being shown in fourth place.
Been several years since Jarrett has run here at IRP. When he used to run the circuit on a regular basis, of course, he would come here and run. It had been a few years, had about 6 laps of practice yesterday, and then jumped in and qualified 8.
Fans got to wonder why a driver would come run 200 laps one night, run 400 miles the next day. Not a lot of time to rest, but does it really sharpen a driver?
Well, he loves to race. I mean, all of these guys will tell you that they love to race as we look at a battle for 16th position. But his sponsor, Band-Aid, has close ties with the Kroger company, and so they wanted to come here and run.
Okay, that's the rear cam. Jason Keller, Slim Jim Chevy. Looking back on the 61 car of Danny Edwards.
Danny has slipped back to the 17th position, starting 7th.
Elliott Sadler in the 46 car. He's the younger brother of Herbie Sadler out of Emporia, Virginia, 21 years of age. That's the black and yellow numeral car number 46 is Chevrolet Monte Carlo, right behind the Suburban Propane efforts of Tommy Houston. That's 14th, 15th, and 16th. You're riding along with the 16th place car, Jason Keller.
Well, there's a lot of action back in that area, Jerry. That's another place that just a little bit of a tap by somebody can cause some problems. Jason Keller still trying to get. And there it is. There's the Edwards tap. That's trouble. Boy, Tracy Leslie was lucky. Uh-oh, back behind him, there comes Stevie Reeves. Mike Wallace drives down on the inside of all of that. And the car number 00, Buckshot Jones, I think he just ran up there, slid up there, and stopped. I don't believe he did a lot of damage. But Stevie Reeves does have a lot of damage to his Clabber Girl car.
You didn't have more than, say, a little tap out of your mouth, and it happened at a turn 4. Let's take a look.
Tracy Leslie trying to get on the inside of the Danny Edwards car. Edwards got loose coming off the turn, and Leslie had a pretty good run coming off there. And then you see the other cars, as they tried to slow down to dodge it, they started hitting each other in the back.
A little different angle. Looks like Stevie Reeves may have gotten a little tap from behind, turned his car in the wall.
Now you see the 61 got loose there just before Leslie hit him. So that slowed Danny down a little bit, and I guess Leslie had such a run that he couldn't get it slowed down. Got into him.
See the damage in the backside of the Clabber Girl car. That's Stevie Reeves' car number 96. It looks like he may have gotten a little bit of a tag from behind as he was trying to whoa that car down to stay away from the two cars that were spinning and involved. His car gets turned. He taps the front end into the outside wall and then slides across the racetrack. Not much of a homecoming for Stevie Reeves from Speedway, Indiana, who cut his teeth on a track just like this. Had a couple of big wins in the midget ranks. It's former two-time USAC midget champion. And there's Phil Parsons, who was right behind Stevie Reeves in his Channel Lock Chevrolet. Back with more from IRP as we're under caution. Stay with us. Well, once again, we're under caution for the third time tonight here in the early laps at Indianapolis Raceway Park for our Kroger 200, and it's gotten ugly early. If you just joined us, you've just missed 3 exciting incidents here in the first 35 or 36 laps now make it. As we'll show you the latest one with this in-car replay.
Of course, the wreck happens right up in front of Stevie Reeves. He gets hit from the back as he tries to slow down and slams him into the wall.
Apparently getting in contact from the back, and the Clabber Girl car heavily damaged. Lots of cars with front end damage. Let's check in down in the pits with Dave Despain.
You've seen this scene before in Winston Cup. The Good Wrench team working on a car that looks like it's beyond repair. Jeff Green hit the wall a ton. He is now looking on as this crew, with Tony Uri, the crew chief in command, tries to repair and get back out in the 170 laps that remain. A car that is naked from the fan belt forward. Everything's ripped off the car, but they're still going to try to get it out there and get points.
Well, he needs to in the top 5. Both he and Todd Bodine, third and fourth respectively in the points.
The green flag waves again, and Chuck Bound goes to work on David Green, working on this second place car. LaJoie was able to move out again, Jared. Boy, he has a fantastic engine in that car. Good transmission ratio, which lets him get a good jump.
K-Tech Motors in the Randy LaJoie car. The Fina Chevy up front. Same engine from K-Tech in the Caterpillar machine. That's a Chevrolet Monte Carlo for David Green in second. There is Chuck Bound in third. Dale Jarrett fourth. Good run for Hermie Sadler in fifth spot. Here's Glenn Allen Jr. Sort of moving back toward the back of the field, apparently having a problem in the Luxair car.
That's the 99 car, the black one. Rodney Combs right on his back bumper. There's Jason Keller on the right of your screen, the defending champion of this race. Jason trying to move on up through the pack, having a tough time doing it though. He's currently in 16th position.
Two drivers have won at Indianapolis Raceway Park as their only Busch Series victories. You're riding along with one of them right now. That's Jason Keller and Tracy Leslie, who won here back in 1993. Driving his own entry here tonight. There's Glenn Allen Jr., leading Rookie of the Year candidate. Left side of your screen, Dick Trickle in the 64 car. He is in 12th position. He qualified 25th for the Brickyard 400 tomorrow. He and Dale Jarrett, the only two drivers who will be doing double duty tonight and tomorrow. Now we go inside and ride along a little bit with Jason Keller, who came close to qualifying downtown today. Listed by about 0.2 of a second. The David Blair car gave it a gallant effort, though.
He did. They really worked hard trying. Mike Hill and all the guys on the David Blair Motorsports team tried hard to get him in the field, and Jason did a good job of driving the car, but they just couldn't quite get it up to speed. Well, this is some real racing back here. Elliott Sadler in the black number 46. Tommy Houston there in the red number 6, the propane gas car.
Problem up front, the 51 car got a little bit out of shape, and he slowed and lost a spot or two. That being Chuck Bound, lost a spot. Actually lost 2 spots. One to Dale Jarrett and one to Hermie Sadler. The car got out of shape coming out of turn 4. He gathered it back in, kept it out of the wall. First time we've seen someone get out of shape and be able to save it without getting tagged from behind. Jarrett takes advantage of the Band-Aid forward, and now he sets his sights on the second place car.
Well, Chuck Bound spun out last night in his second lap of qualifying coming off of turn 4. The car just got loose. He didn't hit, just barely grazed the wall, but not enough to do any damage to the car. But that turn has given him a little bit of trouble. Hey, is this smoke coming from the Jason Keller car?
Not a good sign for the Slim Jim Chevy crowd.
A lot of smoke. I don't believe it's the engine smoke, Jerry. It looks more maybe like gearing or a seal or something.
Ronnie Silver, the crew chief for this car tonight. Ronnie worked for Michael Waltrip on his operation. He's on loan to Jason Keller when Michael isn't racing. But Jason's probably going to get a consultation here from NASCAR pretty soon. The smoke gets much worse. Now it starts to go away a little bit. It gets worse in the corner.
Yeah, NASCAR officials are looking at the car to see if they can determine anything where it might be coming from. Again, it's not engine because he's still running up the same speed that he was running before. But that's got to be making those drivers behind him wonder what's going on there. Is he putting any oil down on the track? That would be another consideration of NASCAR. Not affecting the running of the car. But boy, it's getting worse, Jerry. It's not getting better. And usually that's the case. When you start seeing smoke come from a car, they normally don't get better.
Well, NASCAR has made their way up to the Keller pits.
And he just got the black flag. Tough break for Jason Keller, the defending champion in the Slim Jim Chevrolet.
Jason has started 20th, worked his way up to 15th spot, and now the smoke begins to pour, just literally plume out from underneath that Slim Jim Monte Carlo, and he will slow it down and crank it hard left, enter the pits over in turn 3, and he will not repeat. So he will not get a shot at that $10,000 bonus for a driver who wins as a repeat winner here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Ninth place battle, Purvis in the 4. Curtis Markham in the 63.
Goes right on by. Curtis didn't fight him too hard, let him go. You wonder if maybe Curtis might have sustained a little bit of handling damage to his Lysol car when he got banged up there in the early part of the race. And here's Keller's car in the pits with the hood up on it.
They have the hood up. Ronnie Silver, left side of your screen, the tall guy walking right in front of the car. He is the crew chief here tonight for Jason Keller in the 57 car owned by Jason's dad, Joe Keller. Back up front, Randy LaJoie pulling away, stretching it out with old Ellie Mae, trying to pick up win number 4 in the 1996 season and trying to close it more on that Winston Cup point lead held by runner-up right now, David Green. We'll be back in just a moment. 34-year-old Randy LaJoie continuing to lead here at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Fina Chevrolet. Last year, this car driven by Johnny Benson for the Busch Series Championship. Bill Baumgartner owns it. Steve Bird's the crew chief. And LaJoie doing a whale of a job here in 1996. Already 3 wins. Picked up his second pole tonight. David Green, you see him in the Caterpillar car. Buzz McCall on that one. He is second. There is Dale Jarrett in third. And Herbie Sadler in fourth.
And in the 5th spot is the car number 51 of Chuck Batten. Looks like David Green might be gaining a little bit on Randy LaJoie now. Now, whether Randy has just backed it off and cooling a little bit, but he has closed the gap a little bit.
Let's check in the pits with Dave Despain. Dave?
Well, the verdict on the defending champion is cracked oil tank. We've got yellow. I think it's for debris on the racetrack. A cracked oil tank for Jason Keller. They're trying to patch it and get him back out there.
Well, actually, Dave, a spin over in turn 2, and that was Andy Houston. Says hello to the Busch Series. Apparently, may have cut a tire down. The young man making his Busch Series debut. There's Andy Houston, the Suburban Propane car number 0. Boy, what a bright future this young man's going to have. Former late model stock car champion, Hickory Speedway. That left front tire definitely going down on the Suburban Propane car for Andy Houston.
See some damage also on the right rear quarter panel, Jerry, where he did get into the wall when he spun around.
Farm Credit, also the sponsor on that car for Andy. So apparently had some contact, and we'll need to bring that car in for some more serious repairs. And that brings out the 4th caution flag tonight. And here's Herbie Sadler in the pits.
Okay, we wondered if the leaders might pit, but the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place car stayed out there. Herbie Sadler decided to come in here at lap 59. And that's a strategy on his part, changing all 4 tires on the DeWalt Chevrolet. And it was just announced a week or so ago that Hermes sponsor will stay with him again in 1997. So that's nice to get that out of the way. You see Chad Little's in the pits as well in the John Deere Pontiac.
Gary Cogswell, Harold Holly Company. There is the car number 1 of Sadler. Now the Peebles car actually has to back up. They had a problem with getting the lug nuts on the right rear tire. They put the car back into pits, not in jeopardy of losing a lap, and the crew now will go back to work. That's John Monson and company. You heard Dave Despain say that the rules of tonight allow you 2 sets of tires, or 2 tires per position under caution. So he's used up one of those sets as the Andy Houston car. You see him right behind him, the 0 Suburban Propane Farm Credit machine coming down. And they're doing some work here on the front straightaway.
Well, there's some wires there that apparently came loose, and so they're cleaning up those wires.
Take a look on the replay here from Phil Parsons' channel lock roof cam as what happened to Andy Houston.
Well, all of a sudden, it looks like he might have just... Couldn't tell if that left front tire was flat when he went into the turn, Jerry, or if that was part of as a result of the accident. But the back end got around on him as he went into the turn. Here's Phil Parsons in the channel lock car in the pits with all that damage involved in one of the earlier accidents.
Phil's got to be saying, this is getting old. I mean, we're just 60 laps into this thing, and I've had 3 different cars spin in front of me tonight. I hit one of them, that being the Stevie Reeves car that he's trying to get woed here coming out of 4. And they go to work on Phil Parsons' car number 10. Gene Need, the crew chief there.
Now, I suspect that the strategy on Hermie Sadler, Phil Parsons, and Chad Little, and these guys who have come in, taking on 4 tires now, they figure that we've had a lot of caution. They figure there's going to be more, and so they've got their tires on. The others are going to have to come in, maybe the next time after 80 or so laps. If there's caution on that time, well, that'll move these guys right up to the front. Might not be bad strategy.
What they call short pitting in NASCAR Winston Cup. The first guy to come in, everyone else has got a pit, so Why not come in early and let them pit, and you'll be up front? Well, we'll see if it works out for some of those like Hermie Sadler and maybe Chad Little, who just pitted. We'll come back for more with IRP after this. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, you guessed it, we're under caution once again for the fourth time tonight. This one coming out on lap 58. Andy Houston saying hello to Busch Series Racing. The young man's going to have a very bright career down the road, but tonight having a tough time in this first one and a tough racetrack to start on here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Well, lots of action coming your way. How about pre-race action from the Brickyard 400 Indianapolis Motor Speedway? $4.7 million. The winner taking home the lion's share, probably over $600,000 tomorrow. We'll be on at noon Eastern time with our pre-race special on the Brickyard 400, 1 hour. We'll tell you all of what's going to happen for 400 miles there at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's check in the pits with Bill Weber.
Okay, Jerry, just a couple of things going on. First of all, David Green, who's running second, he says his car's a little loose off turn 4, but good off turn 2. Obviously, they opted to stay back out as the green comes out. Chad Little's complaining that his car is starting to run a little hot, and Randy LaJoie is a man on a mission. He saw Mike Skinner win that race last night. Mike Skinner kind of stunk it up. Good for him, bad for us. Randy LaJoie would like to repeat that tonight. Wire to wire, pick up the win. Down pit road to Dave Despain.
One more note that'll either be a footnote nobody will remember or perhaps a very important bit of the history of this race. Hermie Sadler, with that pit stop, his crew says, we're all set. We're going all the way from here.
Okay, that is interesting strategy, and be interesting to see how it plays out.
And that pit stop by Hermie.
And we got a crash down in turns 2, and that's the 24 car of Mike Harmon.
That's the Met Partners machine of Mike Harmon in caution number 5. Got a whole handful of them thus far. Harmon sustaining some pretty heavy damage to his Chevrolet. Harmon out of Birmingham, Alabama, had run the All-Pro and Southern All-Star Tour for a number of years. Red Farmer, the ageless one, is the crew chief on that car. And Mike saying hello in a very unkind way to the concrete here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So some of the young drivers learning in a hurry here, and unfortunately Andy Houston can probably tell Mike. He said, I did that a moment ago myself up in turns 2, 1, and 2. So that will bring out the caution flag for the 5th time. And here is Chuck Bound coasting in very slowly. He was being shown in the 5th position.
So they're not going to change tires. They're going inside and under the hood. Wonder if he has an ignition problem on his car.
Well, the car came in very, very slowly. I mentioned he was coasting. It came into turn 3, but did not pick up speed and maintain a 35-mile-an-hour speed. You see above him, that's Tommy Houston. Scott Houston, his son, is the crew chief on that car, but we're watching this car, number 51, the Barbasol machine of Chuck Bound. There's some more action happening on pit road. Tommy Houston, Andy Houston, the car number 0 back in. The car that was involved in this caution flag, Mike Harmon.
A lot of damage on that race car, Jerry. I don't know if they might be able to get it pieced back together so he can get back out there, but we're about ready to go green flag racing one more time. Tough break for Chuck Bound in the Barbasol car.
Tough break for Chuck, former series champion. 67 laps are in the books. If you're counting 200, we'll call it a night here at IRP. Making lap 69 when they come across for that green hanky. And LaJoie takes off, Green in pursuit, and now Jarrett gets a challenge from Nathan Bucky for 3rd.
Nathan moved all the way up to 4th place there now, having a good run for himself. Jarrett's all over the David Green car.
Check in the pits with Dave Despain. Dave?
Dick Bound, Jim's dad, crew chief on the car, said when they lost those 2 positions a little bit ago, the car kind of burped. They thought it was ignition. Sure enough, it's gone south, and it's going to be tough to find. They have no idea where the problem is.
Well, the problem for Dale Jarrett right now is on his left rear fender, and that was Nathan Bucky who tried to make a move, and Bucky almost pulled it off and almost lost a spot to Tim Fedewa, who's on the inside.
Yeah, he really did. Fedewa was about to go by on the outside while Nathan was down on the inside trying to get by Jarrett, but that didn't quite work. The gap closed up for him. And Jerry, we saw all those wires loose down there a while ago that they were pulling up during that caution flag. Part of that had to do with our scoring move here, but we're going to be able to keep everybody up to date there. They'll get it all straightened out here in a little bit. But we know who's running up front. It's Randy LaJoy. He's been up there all night, along with David Green in second place, Dale Jarrett in third, Nathan Butke in fourth, and in fifth place now is Tim Fiedel. And in the sixth position is the car number 47 of Jeff Fuller.
Boy, Nathan Butke's had a whale of a year. He's had some good runs, but he hadn't finished a race yet. He said, man, I've had some great efforts. I was running second at Milwaukee, and I've got involved in a wreck, which is my own doing, he said, but maybe I'll change my luck tonight.
Been driving the truck series for Spears Manufacturing the last couple events.
Had a nice top 10 finish last night here. Mike Skinner led flag to flag, wire to wire. And Randy LaJoy is trying to do a Skinner-like performance repeat here tonight. He has been our only leader. Butke, Fiedler, Fuller, and Purvis. The cars you're watching right there. As we are 74 laps into the Kroger 200 50th edition, as they are watching their man lead up front and pull away. We'll be right back. And we're back at Indianapolis Raceway Park. That's a differential right there. Randy LaJoy being shown as our leader. He has led since the drop of the green flag in the Fina Chevy. Behind him, the big cat car on the hood. That's the difference. About 5 cars, about as close as it's been since they dropped the green flag, except for restarts and caution flags. David Green in second spot. He is the point leader, but not the leader at this point of the race, as we are almost 80 laps into this 200-lap event.
Yeah, you wonder if Randy LaJoy is just running as fast as he has to out there. It looks like the car number 43, Rodney Combs, just made a pass on the Mark Green car, number 37. Dick Trickle right behind Mark Green now. And there's the Glenn Allen car, the black 99, right behind him. And they're all battling for 9th, 10th, and 11th.
9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th spot. Rockin' Rodney Combs, Mark Green, he is the middle Green brother. David Green is the oldest, he's 38. Mark's 37. And Jeff, who's already back there trying to help him piece that Goodrich car together, he's 33. Dick Trickle, then a Shoemaker's Duralube car. Tries to make a move on the inside of the 37 of Mark Green. Behind them, the 99 of Glenn Allen Jr.
Trickle got a good run off the corner, but he just couldn't get down on the inside of Green. Now he's got a nose up under him. That's going to be tough, Dick. He knows it. He knows that'll be tough to pass down there, but he's going to work on him.
Drivers pretty much agree. The only spot you really can get a run on someone is coming off the corners here. It's too tight going in to try to make a move.
It is. Yeah, you just got to hope that they slip a little bit coming off the corner and you can get under them.
Meanwhile, there's Nathan Butke back up in 4th position in the Duragloss Chevy. Taking a look at Nathan after having that top 10 finish last night in the Truck Series, hanging on to a top 5 run right now in the Busch. Why don't we check in with Dave Despain?
Some concern about Butke's situation after he bent the front of the car up in that earlier incident. The crew say no problem. It's not heating up. It's handling fine. We're very confident. We're looking forward to the first pit stop, and we don't plan to change anything but the tires. So they sound like they're in good shape.
Yeah, the car looks like it is handling well. Tim Fiedel is still there behind him, about 4 or 5 car lengths.
And it's closing in up front, just a mite.
Yeah, David Green might have picked up a car length on Randy LaJoy in the last 5 or 6 laps.
And now the in-car looking back on Randy, just sort of glances up and says, well, let me see who that Caterpillar car is. Yeah, he's still back there, but he's getting a little bit closer. But I'm a little bit thinking about pit stop. Now, as far as fuel is concerned, Ned, they can go about 130, 35 laps, but they thought tires would be a big factor.
Yes, of course, they're already within the window as far as fuel is concerned, but Yeah, they were wondering about the tires. This track in the past has been noted for really wearing tires, but in the truck race last night, they were able to go 100 laps, no problem. And so that's what these guys up front are thinking, hey, well, they went 100 laps, we can go at least 100 laps, and then we'll come in and get one set of our tires, and hopefully that's all they'd have to change.
Taking a look at LaJoie and Green, they are 1-2 here, and they are 2-1 with regard to the point standings. Randy LaJoie, 3 wins in 1996. His wins coming at Nazareth, Dover, and Loudon. All 3 of LaJoie's wins have come since the middle of May. 2 wins for David Green this year. They're coming at Hickory and Myrtle Beach. Green has been winless since June 22nd, so gone a month or so, a little over a month without a victory.
He's moving in, Jerry. He's picked up another couple of car lengths on Randy LaJoie. Back here is Rodney Combs in the Lance car, number 43.
We told you that Rodney wasn't feeling
Oh, here's trouble on the front straightaway. Patty Moise. Tommy Houston got by, but the 55 car of
that's Bobby Donner.
And Bobby Edwards Danny Edwards involved. Patty Moise slid into it hard. There's Bobby Donner getting out of his car.
Well, fortunately, Bobby's okay. Probably a little hotter on the inside than he is on the outside right now. The car is showing a little bit of smoke, and that's Patty Moise's Purex car. Her husband, Elton Sawyer, here spotting for her. See if we can spot what may have happened.
Well, it looks like Buckshot Jones in the 00, and somebody had tangled. Buckshot was sideways, and then the other cars came along and had nowhere to go and started hitting each other and putting the brakes on and spinning around.
And Bobby Donner out of the car, thankfully. There, the safety crews are with him. He takes the belts and turns the switches off with his Lube Tech machine. Lube Tech Chevrolet for Bobby Donner, and now this will be an opportunity for pit stops as we approach the halfway point.
We're talking about it, 10 laps from the halfway point, so they'll come in. Most of them, I suspect, will take on 4 tires, fill it up with gasoline, and that would put them in a position where they could go the rest of the way, I think. Bill?
Randy LaJoie is in. The Phoenix Chevrolet already has right side tires and a can of fuel. They come around to the left side. They'll tighten up the car. Same for David Green in this Caterpillar Monte Carlo. It'll be 4 tires, full load of fuel. Everybody can go the distance from this point. Down pit road, Dave Despain.
And they are down and away what would be probably the only scheduled pit stop. So caution flags stand even at a half a dozen as safety crews continue to pick up the debris here on the front straightaway. They have had their service on pit road. Randy LaJoie getting his tire change, getting it topped off with fuel, and 3 of the 6 caution flags have happened with incidents coming out of turn 4. Right here in front of this massive crowd of over 35,000.
And of the cars that pitted, Jerry, Tim Fito was the one that got out first. Dale Jarrett got out second, and then Randy LaJoie.
And Jason Keller still sitting on pit road by virtue of that earlier incident. So we are under caution once again at Indianapolis Raceway Park. We'll be right back. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Our ESPN Speed World coverage continuing here tonight. Brought to you by Dynomax Performance Exhaust Systems, engineered by Walker. By DirecTV, satellite TV at its best. And by AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. There's the car number 23, Chad Little. Behind him, Hermie Sadler in the car number 1. They're being shown as the leaders here at 93 laps behind the Pontiac safety car.
Now, Jerry, both of them pitted on lap 59, and Dave Despain reported that they pitted then, that they could go the rest of the way. Got good track position now, so that was good strategy. The others have newer tires. I don't know how that might play out. The tires these Goodyear tires that they have here tonight seem to be holding up very, very well and not slowing down too much as they run on them. So good strategy on their part.
Chad Little, a six-time winner last year in Busch Series competition, still looking for the first victory here in 1996. His best finish, an 8th place finish in the John Deere Pontiac. They changed from Ford to Pontiac, also changed engine builders over the year, and they've sort of struggled trying to get back to that form of a year ago. Why don't we check in once again with Dave Despain?
Check in with Dale Jarrett's bunch. They said they changed the track bar a little bit, put on four tires and sent him back out. But further down pit road, Jeff Fuller came in 6th spot. They slammed the wheel on during the tire change, knocked all the lug nuts off, had to start all over again, and track position is the key. He lost a bunch of it.
Oh boy, yeah, that hurts. Tough to make up.
After that great qualifying effort by Jeff, starting 3rd here tonight in the Sunoco Chevy.
Chad Little, Hermie Sadler, Elliott Sadler in 3rd place, Phil Parsons 4th, Marty Ward up to 5th. And they're showing the 61 car of Danny Edwards in the 6th position, Jerry, and he's not down on the insides. I thought he had lost a lap in a spin, but maybe he's okay.
Still showing 26 cars on the lead lap of the 36 that started. Chad Little trying to hang on. The John Deere colors plowing his way away from the 2nd place car of Hermie Sadler, former Rookie of the Year in the Busch Series back in 1993. Hermie got a mirror full of his younger brother Elliott Sadler, the car number 46, back in 3rd spot.
Well, there's going to be some scrambling here because you got some awfully fast race cars that's back in the pack as a result of those pit stops. Oh, Chad got a little bit high going into turn 3, but he was able to hang on to the lead.
That's the Peebles Department Store rear bumper cam looking back at little brother Elliott. Inching in closer and closer to Hermie. A couple of boys from Emporia, Virginia. Little, our leader, in a Pontiac. Hermie Sadler in a Chevrolet. Elliott Sadler also in a Chevrolet. Might expect Hermie to be in a Chevrolet. He's a Chevrolet dealer up in South Hill, Virginia.
Well, the real action is right behind what we're looking at there, as Tim Fiedel has really been working on the car number 61 of Danny Edwards. Has not been able to mount a charge and get around it, but he has really been working on it.
They gave him the halfway signal that time by 100 down and 100 to go here in the Kroger 200 at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Dave Despain, Bill Weber, Ned Jarrett, and yours truly, Jerry Punch, bringing you the live action. Our ESPN Speed World coverage. We're going to move over to Indianapolis Motor Speedway tomorrow for a 1-hour preview show in the Brickyard 400. Now back in the pack. Here's a couple that are trying to weed their way through some traffic.
And they're having a tough time doing it. That's Randy LaJoie. We're looking out his windshield as he chases Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett is on the back bumper of Tim Fiedel. Fiedel has really been working on the Danny Edwards car. There he is trying to get a nose under him once again. It's Marty Ward right in front. Here comes LaJoie down on the inside of Dale Jarrett. Let's see, Jarrett will probably let him go. He does, going into the turn. That doesn't surprise me. He knows that LaJoie has a good car, and he's going to let him go up there and try to fight those cars up there in front of him.
Now David Green will try to make a move around Dale Jarrett. That's David Green right behind the 32 car in the Caterpillar Chevy.
There's something fixing to happen here, right up in front of them. And there's some things happening behind them there, too. But this is going to get serious here in a moment, right here.
Talking about the 61 of Edwards and the 40 of Fiedel.
Yeah, they have been touching, and Tim Fiedel has done a good job of staying off of Danny Edwards. They've touched, but he hasn't hit him hard enough yet to do any major damage, but he's getting impatient.
I hate to remind you that every time you mention something's going to happen, it does. So I'm not mentioning it for a while. We are 6 caution flags in it here at the halfway point. That would just calculate out to an even dozen here at 200 laps. We can hope not.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't work that way. Now, Danny Edwards working on the Marty Ward car. Apparently, Ward is holding him up just a little bit. because the fourth place car of Phil Parsons has pulled away. You see the blue car of Phil Parsons, and here's the 23 car of Chad Little. He's pulled away a little bit now from Hermie Sadler.
And they're 3 abreast on the front stretch, bringing the crowd to their feet as you watch the 23 car of Chad Little. He just joined us, Chad Little, in the John Deere Pontiac, pitted on lap number 60. He and Hermie Sadler, that's why they didn't have to come in. They are up front as you watch this incident, or about to be incident, here coming out of turn 4 just a moment ago. They nearly got together.
Yeah, Danny Edwards got up the side of Marty Ward coming off of turn 2, but couldn't quite make the pass. But now he is working on him while Tim Fedewa in the 40 car works on Ward. Here they come off of turn 2. Edwards has a run, but he can't quite make the pass. It is tough down there. No banking to catch you when you get down. The car slides. Hard to get traction coming off the turn, but Edwards is doing a good job down on the inside.
And right behind him was our pole sitter, LaJoy. He's thinking now, where should I go? Should I stay low to Edwards and go up high with Ward, or should I just hang back here to let these 2 guys spin away, and then I can go right on through? We'll find out what will happen to Randy LaJoy when we come back after this. Stay with us. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, that car a moment ago, Jeff Fuller, who had a great day in qualifying, not having a very good night here. Here's what happened just a moment ago.
Boy, there was some hard racing, close racing in here. You see the yellow and blue car right in the middle there. Might have gotten a little tap. I think he did from Nathan Butke in the 66 car, and around he goes. Mike Wallace gets by down on the inside. Several other cars get by as he goes up to the outside wall.
Well, not a good night for Jeff Fuller. The Sunoco car will come down pit road, and they will take a look. Mick Kangas, Steve Plattenberger, the crew chief on the car. Kangas, the chassis specialist, and that was going to need some adjustment. So the car number 47 brings out the 7th caution flag of the night here. 113 laps into it. That's the NASCAR Kroger 200. We'll come back and tell you what happens to this guy in just a moment. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection.
Okay, we're back here, back behind pit road, and I want to show you what's been going on. Todd Bodine and Jeff Green both crashed out of this race on lap 8. This is Todd Bodine's car. They're done. The crew's not working on it. They're leaning against it. They've had a very disappointing day. Follow me back here. This is Patty Moise's car. She's pulled behind the wall. If you walk back here, you'll see the Goodwrench Chevrolet that is driven by Jeff Green. His team continues to work extremely hard on this car. You can see they've got all kinds of parts and equipment and generators laid out here. Jeff has a hammer in his hand. That's usually the most useful tool in this situation. They've got most of the front end cut away. They hope to get out and make one more lap. They both came out 8. If Jeff can make one more lap, he'll pick up some more points toward the Busch Series Points Championship. He's here picking up some stuff. We'll lean in here and ask him what his current situation is. Okay, well, they're going to go back to green, and we'll try and get back to you in just a second on that. But as you can see, what they're trying to do is get Jeff Green back out for one more lap, so he can pick up some more points back up top.
Boy, that is a lot of work for get 3 points, but you never know what that might do down at the end of the season.
Plus the fact, Ned, the trucks with all the equipment is outside the racetrack. They have to go through a tunnel under the track and run out there to get the major parts, and it's literally a marathon. The Olympics are going on in Atlanta, but there's a lot of running going on here from the pits out to the garage area.
Yeah, the trucks are on the back stretch, and the tunnel comes out the front stretch. So that means they got to, once they get out through the tunnel, they got to go all the way around the racetrack to get them. Okay, we're back to green flag racing.
And Chad Little back up front once again by virtue of that early pit stop hanging on. There's Elliott Sadler, Hermie Sadler. Hermie the 1, Elliott the 46.
Not long before that caution, we'll see David Green come into the picture. He's back there about 10th place or something now. He was, David was up there right behind Dale Jarrett in there, and he got down on the inside trying to pass somebody, and the car started passing him on the outside, and he got caught. It's usually the other way around that you get caught, down get caught on the outside, but that was not the case with him.
Boy, LaJoy is coming in a hurry, Ned. He just zipped by on the inside of the 61 car of Edwards, and now It looks like Jarrett tries to make a move underneath Fedewa. Tim Fedewa in the 40 car, the Kleenex sponsorship in the Doug Taylor Motorsports car. Mike McLaughlin, the 34 car. We hadn't mentioned Mike tonight. He's right behind Jarrett. He started with a provisional start back in 34th spot.
And now he's up to 8th. Fedewa's really been trying to get around Edwards up there. Hadn't been able to do that. Almost had him passed right before that last caution came out, but Edwards beat him to the line by about 6 inches.
Hey, you got to give a call to Edwards, man, a two-time track champion up at Langley Speedway in Hampton, Virginia.
Right there, give a little tap to Fedewa. Sorry about that, Jerry. Yeah, he's doing a good job. You got to hand it to him. Edwards, we're talking about.
You saw Fedewa had his hands full of steering wheel a minute ago. See those white gloves? He's not swatting flies in there, folks. He's hanging on that steering wheel. That car is not handling very well coming off the corners, and he saws that wheel bounce. Look again. Watch in the windshield. See that hands back and forth there across as the light glistens off those white gloves.
It is so difficult to pass on this racetrack. You've got to work and work and work and bump. And sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. All that's going on. Chad Little just sitting out there riding, but there's Randy LaJoie. He's not riding. He's trying to pick them off. He's trying to get around Elliott Sadler there now in the 46 car. That would be for 3rd place.
Now the roof cam from the Fina Loop Chevrolet. Bill Bumgardner machine. That's 4th spot. I'll bet you he won't be in 4th long. LaJoie has certainly been the class of the field here tonight. And gets up there right on the rear of Elliott Sadler. Saw Mike Skinner dominate the Craftsman Truck Series event here last night. LaJoie hasn't led wire to wire. Had to make a pit stop. They need fuel, need some tires, but he's currently back in 4th spot.
And here is David Green trying to move around Dennis Setzer, and he gets up in front of him. Now Dennis right on his back bumper, but didn't make a tap on him. Good clean drive there.
That was back for 9th and 10th spot. Green taking the 9th spot away. Setzer now back in 10th. Double zero Buckshot Jones picked up his first win in Milwaukee early in the year. Young man coming out of the All-Pro ranks. That's the double zero in the Aquafresh car. Meanwhile, back up toward the front, LaJoie continues to work on the youngster from Virginia. As you said, Ned, it's very, very difficult to pass here. Here's the 43 car, the Lance Chevy. Rockin' Rodney Combs slowing, and Rodney had a good run going tonight. In spite of his injuries and ailments from Talladega.
He was up there in the 15th position, and is he going to be able to get down on the inside so he can get to the pits?
Trying to wait for traffic to clear, and now the caution does come out. Let's look again to see what happened to Rodney. Whoa! Trying to avoid a car that was coming on the inside. He got way out of shape. That was Mike Dillon. He tagged the wall, and now here comes Nathan Butke down on the inside. Kevin LePage goes by, Mark Green, and that will bring out the caution. But that contact on the right rear by the Lance Chevrolet of Rodney Combs. 8th caution flag of the night here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. We'll be right back. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park under caution for the 8th time tonight. Chad Little still being shown as our leader. Our AutoZone race recap shows Chad as our leader. He has led 36 laps. There's been only one lead change. Randy LaJoie, who was our pole sitter, led early on. There are the 2-lap leaders. LaJoie, 91. Chad Little, 36. Out of race, Reeves, Bodine, Daughter, Houston, and Chuck Bound. Added that list, Jeff Green. As the green flag waves again for Chad Little. Hermie Sadler, Elliott Sadler, LaJoie, and company. Here's Fedewa making a move on the inside. That'd be back for a 5th spot underneath Danny Edwards.
Boy, he has been trying, working. They get together. Fedewa's right front wheel came off the ground as apparently their wheels sort of locked together there momentarily. He has been working on Edwards, trying to get around, but just hasn't been able to do it. Now Dale Jarrett's going to come up on the outside of Fedewa. No, he figures that's not the smart thing to do.
Fedewa back on the inside out of turn 2. Edwards will slam the door. Jarrett sits back there knowing he's got Mike McLaughlin on his bumper. There's Jarrett's Band-Aid for him.
I think both Fiedel and Jared and probably the 34 car of McLaughlin are all faster than Danny Edwards, but they just simply can't get around him. He's doing a good job of protecting his territory.
Well, from the 5 caution flags we had in the first 30 laps, you don't have to go around them here. You just want to go through them or over them. That was sort of the MO early on here in the Kroger 200. If you missed it,
they're the first 4 tied up front. Chad Little in the lead. With the Sadler brothers running second and third. Randy LaJoy is right there.
I love their music. Well, that's the Statler brothers.
That's close.
Okay, well. Racing brothers from Emporia, Virginia. Hermie in the 1 car. Elliott back in the 46. And speaking of the Sadlers, let's check in with Dave Despay.
Well, this family operation that's impeding LaJoy's progress to the front is pretty impressive. The 2 women you're looking at are Missy Sadler, who owns Elliott's car but is scoring for Hermie. The other woman is Hermie's wife. There's more to it. Hermie's mom owns Hermie's car but scores for Elliott. Dad is Hermie Jr. He's kind of the head of the family. And that other woman you're looking at, Hermie's wife Angie. She's pregnant. There are more racing Sadlers on the way.
All right. I'm glad you figured that all out, Dave. That's good.
Well, I had my paper and pen here trying to figure out what he was saying. Well, that's interesting. A lot of families involved. A couple of Sadler brothers, a couple of Houstons, father and son in the action tonight. Hermie Sadler, until a year or so ago, was the youngest Chevrolet dealer in the nation. They had 25 years of age.
He is quite a race driver and quite a businessman as well.
Now LaJoy gets a run on the
boy. This second pack of cars is really, really going at it. Mike McLaughlin passed Dale Jarrett on the outside the last time around. Now he's up beside of Tim Fiedel. Found him a groove up on the outside as Fiedel has been trying to get under Danny Edwards. They have really, really been going at it, this whole crew.
Fiedler's car gets loose. That's the opening McLaughlin wants. He will take the 6th spot, and now he will get a shot at Danny Edwards. Fiedler couldn't get by. Jarrett couldn't get by Fiedler. Now McLaughlin's gotten by both those guys, and we'll get a run on the 61 car.
He passed both of those others up on the outside, but Danny Edwards is doing a good job of protecting the whole groove, whether it's outside or inside, wherever. McLaughlin started back in the started back in 34th position in the car number 34, and now is up to 6th position.
Eddie's had a remarkable record at this racetrack. Came here, won 2 open-wheel modified series events, and has run twice in the Busch Series, finishing 3rd both times. Oh, trouble out of turn 4. Elliott Sadler right in front of LaJoy, spins. He will tap the inside wall. Smoke and yellow flag. Thus far, no more cars will join Elliott Sadler. That will make it 9 caution flags thus far here at IRP, and that young man there was running in 3rd position until a moment ago.
Well, that was a tough break. Whatever happened as he came off of turn 4. We'll take a look at what did happen. Of course, he was running in 3rd place right behind his brother, Randy LaJoy, running in 4th place. He'd been trying to get around him. It looked like they made contact, and around Elliott goes and down to the inside. LaJoy goes on by, but it didn't take much contact and sent him around.
A little different angle. Let's see again if we can see any contact between LaJoy and Sadler. Looks like there may have been a bump right coming out of 4. Sadler's car loops around. LaJoy goes on through, and the youngster, 21 years of age, making his 6th Busch start, trying to get a top 5 finish, ends up getting a little nose job there by virtue of that concrete retaining wall that separates the front stretch from pit road.
Didn't look like his car was hurt too bad as Danny Edwards comes into the pits in the car number 61, but the sad part is that Elliott Sadler will lose so much track position. Here's the Danny Edwards car.
They will make a chassis adjustment on Danny Edwards' machine. Carl Schielberg, the crew chief there. Edwards, a 2-time track champion up at Langley Speedway, Hampton, Virginia, making only his 2nd start here in 1996. Finished 24th at Dover, Delaware, back a couple of months ago. As you watch that pit work, let's get a replay once again, this time from the roof camera of Randy LaJoy.
There he is right on. Boy, if he touched him, he didn't touch him much, Jerry. It was...
well, it didn't look like it, did it? Well, we got to wonder. You got to wonder if maybe Elliott got a little bit loose. As you watch Randy LaJoy there, we'll be back with more live coverage from Indianapolis Raceway Park. capacity crowd on head under the lights here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, enjoying a barn burner. Those two cars are first and second. That is Chad Little and Hermie Sadler riding along in the roof cam of Randy LaJoie, who was our pole sitter.
Looking out the rear of Hermie Sadler, who is running in second place. LaJoie stalking him.
Now we'll look back forward from Randy LaJoie's roof cam, the DeWalt sponsored Chevrolet for Hermie Sadler. Take a look at the top 15, our field summary. Chad Little, Hermie Sadler, LaJoie, McLaughlin from a provisional starting spot. Yeah, back in the back of the pack where he came from. Jarrett back in 7th spot. Dennis Setzer, great run for the 38 car, Lipton Team Machine, Purvis, and Buckshot in 10th.
Dick Trickle, Mike Dillon, Mike Wallace, all there in the top 15. Tied up front. In fact, the first 10 or so cars are running pretty close together. You see them come off the turn forward.
Ed got to wonder, tires are such a huge factor here. Both those first and second place cars pitted on lap 60.
Yes.
So they have run 89 laps now on their tires, while LaJoie pitted at the halfway point just after the 100 lap mark. So his tires much fresher, some 42 laps fresher.
And that could make a difference, especially as we get down in the last 50 laps or so here, and that's where we're at right now with 50 laps to go.
And Sadler gets a little high, gets it out of shape somewhat, gathers it back in, and getting a little bit slippery coming off turn 2, but you got to run up high. That's the groove here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. That's where the banking is. Bank 6 degrees out in turns 1 and 2, 8 degrees up in 3 and 4. Joined us, Randy LaJoie dominated the first portion of this race prior to his pit stop. Basically unbeatable up front, set on the pole, his second pole of the year.
Here's Nathan Budke on the inside of Mike Wallace. Budke in the white 66, Mike Wallace in the green and black number 90 as they battle for position. And that's a battle for the 12th position.
Wallace 12th, Budke 13th, behind him. Kevin LePage now trying to take 13th away inside of Budke, can't make the move. Behind him is Larry Pearson, the Stanley Tools car, the McMartin machine.
All those drivers in the lead lap. In fact, we have still 25 cars being shown in the lead lap.
Chad Little trying to turn around his season after somewhat of a struggle here in the first half of the year. Mentioned they lost their engine builder Mike Aggie to Penske South Racing. They changed from Ford to Pontiac. After 6 wins a year ago, they are winless thus far in 17 starts here in 1996. Likewise, Hermie Sadler would like to be able to pick up a win. His last win coming at Orange County Speedway back in 1994. Here's a battle heating up on the racetrack.
Yeah, Jarrett's been trying to get around Tim Fiedler for, I don't know, 10 laps or so, but he just can't quite do it. He appears to have a little bit faster car, but again, Fiedler was doing a good job of holding the groove and using the racetrack to his advantage.
Harold Ford, Fiedler, the Kleenex colors in 6th spot. Jarrett back in the Band-Aid car in 7th.
And there's Dennis Setzer behind them, and Jeff Purvis working on him. Buckshot Jones right in there.
Speaking of struggle, Dennis Setzer, pardon me, Dan, has really had his trouble this year with that car. As Jarrett now has finally gotten to the inside. Can he make it stick entering 3? And yeah, Fiedler will back off, and Jarrett will have the spot.
Well, here comes Fiedler back on the inside, but not be able to do it this time.
Well, Jarrett worked and worked and worked and worked not to lay a fender on him, and finally got by. There is Setzer. We mentioned he is back in 8th spot. Purvis is 9th. And Buckshot gets a little bit of a move from Dick Trickle. They are battling for 10th spot. Buckshot Jones, the 00. The Aquafresh machine 10th. Trickle is 11th.
I tell you, a car that's on the move right now as we watch this battle is David Green. David had dropped back to about 10th position, but he has moved back up now to the 5th position and is gaining at a pretty good pace on the leaders. As we see Trickle down on the inside of Buckshot Jones, and we got a battle up there for second place as well. Here's Randy LaJoie down on the inside of Hermie, but he can't make the pass.
Boy, LaJoy was all the way down on the inside of Hermie Sadler up in turn 3. Had him about door to door coming out of 4, and Sadler just pulled away here on the front stretch. It shows you how tight this racetrack is.
LaJoy trying to peek under there again, but nothing there.
Some of the Sadler faithful. You heard from David Spade a moment ago. Hermie Sadler's wife down there watching and helping spot for him. Hey, Hermie Sadler doesn't have a bigger fan than her, unless it's maybe Chad Little right now, saying, just hang on there, Hermie. Keep him back there. You keep him off of me.
Yeah, as long as he's behind Hermie, Chad don't have to worry about him. Chad seems to be able to hold Hermie off okay, so pretty good position to be in.
She knows that Hermie has been wanting to win for a long, long time. 1993 Rookie of the Year. Finished 6th here last year, talking about Hermie Sadler in the car number 1. That's the full windshield that LaJoy has as he tries to move to the inside and will fall back in line. .62 laps are complete here. And Fedewa does the same trick that Jarrett did to him about 15 laps ago.
Yeah, he did. He stayed right with Jarrett after Jarrett got by him. And so when he got on the inside, I don't know, something might be happening to Jarrett's car. He's not running quite as strong as he was there a little bit earlier, so I don't know if he picked up a push or if maybe feels the tire going down or something like that. But there are the 4 leaders. You see them all in your frame. That's how close they are.
I tell you, I still cannot believe that Mike McLaughlin has had the run he has had tonight from 34th spot. You believe in numerology, car number 34 started 34th. And he is now, I tell you what, Randy LaJoy has been working on Sadler, but he better look in that rearview mirror because McLaughlin is right there.
He is coming right on up on him as LaJoy works on Sadler one more time. Four-car battle for the lead. They pulled away a little bit. Now, David Green was gaining on them, Jerry, but he seems to have stabilized back there now and is not gaining. He's running back there by himself in 5th position, about 15 car lengths behind the front 4.
Well, these guys are content to ride single file for a few laps as they wind down. So we'll take a quick break and come back and show you the final laps here. We'll maybe find out if indeed Hermie Sadler can hold off Randy LaJoy, and maybe Chad Little can hold them all off and get his first win of the year. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, you haven't missed a thing, folks. Randy LaJoy decided to stay put during the commercial, not make any passes. He didn't know we were in commercial, obviously, but with 30 laps to go, now he better do something because McLaughlin is back there on his rear bumper, knocking away. There's a DeWalt car, Fina. Big shot of that Fina Monte Carlo hood in the rearview mirror on the bumper cam, the People's Department Store cam of Hermie Sadler. LaJoy about to get a load of charcoal from behind. That's Mike McLaughlin's Royal Oak colors. There's the 34 car, the man they call Magic Shoes, 1988 Modified Series National Champion. Shows the top 15. Little, Sadler, LaJoy, McLaughlin, and David Green. Now, see Green coming to the top of your screen. Feeder with Jarrett Setzer at 8-spot Purvis, and Dick Trickle in 10.
Then comes Jones, Butke, LePage, Pearson, and Tracy Leslie.
Good run for Tracy Leslie. Still looking for a sponsor so he can run more of the Busch Series events. Former winner here. 9th spot heating up. Purvis on the outside. Trickle. James Finch owns the car number 4 of Jeff Purvis, who had the 9th spot, and Trickle has 10th. Right behind him, Buckshot Jones, a 00 machine. Nathan Butke and company, 11th and 12th.
In fact, that battle goes all the way back through about 20th place. From there, there's just a string of cars back there behind them that are all in the lead lap and wanting to get up there with them.
Make one slip and lose about 6 or 7 spots there.
Oh, and that was a slip. Let's see what he can do about Jeff Purvis. Went a little high there, but he got traction off the corner and took off, kept his position.
Ron Hunter giving Purvis a little power off the corner. Johnny Allen and Mark Rito and company had that car dialed in. You saw he started back in 15th position after the disappointment of not qualifying over at the Brickyard today in round 2 of qualifying. And once again, Trickles, Duralube car tries to get under it, can't hold it, off of turn 2. Action all over the racetrack. Back up front, Chad Little going by the damaged car of Elliott Sadler. There's Elliott's older brother Hermie going by. He's got his hands full with LaJoie behind him, and behind him is the Royal Oak car. Chad Little all the way from 28th starting spot.
Well, he's just running the same lap. I've been putting the clock on him, Jerry, and he's not varying more than 0.02 of a second per lap. He's just sitting there running what he feels comfortable with that car. It's good enough to stay out front, and he's just said, you guys battle back there and let me run this race out front here. I like this.
24 cars being shown in the lead lap as we are under 25 laps to go. Chad Little being shown as our leader. Why don't we check in the pits with Dave Despain? Double D?
I asked John Munson, the crew chief for Hermie Sadler, if he had anything left for Chad Little. He looked down, grinned, and said, only if he screws up. Maybe the thing to remember is that last year Little's chance at winning this race was victim of an alternator failure. He may not have to screw up. There's always that old bugaboo of the mechanical breakdown.
That was John Monson, you saw a moment ago, Double D, talking about the crew chief for Hermie Sadler. Hermie decided to go back a year ago and form his own race team after driving for a couple other owners in the early years as a Busch Series driver.
Just 20 laps to go.
Pontiac up front, Pontiac Grand Prix. That's Chad Little looking for win number 1 in 1996 after 6 victories a year ago. Best finishes this year. An 8th place finish, and once again, these guys still going at it tooth and nail.
The positions haven't changed, but they're still racing.
About a half a car length separating each one of these cars, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Up on Andy Houston there to make a pass on him. Andy's being shown in the 26th position, about 4 laps down.
LaJoie gets a little bit squirrely there. And a huge incident up in turn 3. The number of cars sliding. Sadler locks the brakes down, taps the wall.
Chad Little gets involved in it as he comes through there.
Chad Little has spun around. Our leader was involved. There is the bumper cab. You see the damage of sparks flying from Hermie Sadler's car as the track was almost completely blocked up in turn 3. And we're going to show you the whole thing that happened here a moment ago. That was our leader, folks.
Oh, man.
Oh, can you believe that's the kind of luck Chad Little has had here in 1996. We'll show you here what happened.
Okay, there's Phil Parsons, Mike Dillon running right behind him going into the turn, and Dillon gets into Parsons, spins him around, and here comes Danny Edwards in the 61 car. A couple of cars gets by down on the inside, and here is
that's Curtis Markham.
He just weaves his way through there, but then the leaders are going to be coming up, and there's Chad Little coming in hard. Hermie Sadler had already crashed back there behind him before he got to the big crash.
And we're going to show you the in-car camera with Randy LaJoie in real time as he tries to make it through.
Now that's coming off of turn 2. They were about to get together. Randy LaJoie was waving his hand, and Hermie apparently didn't see what was happening up ahead of him, and I think he ran into Chad Little. And that's what caused Hermie to spin back there.
Well, Chad Little actually plowed a hole in that crash, and it cost him his right rear tire and wheel. And actually, the right rear tire and wheel is what hit the front of LaJoie's car. It was right behind Chad Little. You see Harold Holling, Gary Cogswell and company there. Just cannot believe the luck this John Deere crew has had in 1996, or the bad luck, I should say, or the lack of luck, whatever you want to call it, the misfortune. They have not been able to get a good finish.
And that car is through for tonight. That's for sure. We don't have that many laps to go. There's only going to be 15 laps to go when they come around, and you can see the rear axle housing is broken, and the right rear wheel gone.
Chad Little had nowhere to go. Hermie Sadler locked it down to try to spin up high. There is Hermie in the Walt People Chevrolet, trying to catch up to the field after being on pit road. Now he'll come back in the pits. As we are under caution for, make it even a 10? The 10th time tonight. Well, a rash of yellow fever. We still got 15 laps to go. We'll see who can hang on and win this when we come back with more live coverage from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park under caution for the 10th time tonight. A wild incident out of turn 3 that cost our leader a chance at victory and a chance at even finishing here tonight. We're going to show you again what happened. Look at this melee in turn 3.
Well, this is Phil Parsons' car to the right, and he gets hit from behind by the 72 car of Mike Dillon, and that spins around, and here comes Danny Edwards. He comes in and hits them, and then all heck breaks loose behind him as Phil Parsons still in the pits. They're working on his car. He's been in and out of the pits.
Channel Lock Chevrolet for Phil Parsons. Having a pretty good run going. That's
had a tough night.
Few parts sticking out. Good way to get air in the radiator, but that's not what he wanted to do. The front of that car completely gone as he gets turned into the wall back there and then gets banged again as other cars pile into him. There is Hermie Sadler. They're trying to see if possibly there's a problem with the rear end. We've got the car jacked up, see if both wheels are going to pull. Maybe they've broken a ratchet back there. Hermie now down and away.
The wreckers on pit road is going to have to take away the 23 car of Chad Little.
13 laps to go. That's the top 15. LaJoy, McLaughlin, David Green, Fedewood, Jarrett in 5th. Dennis Setzer in 6th. You can read them. Dick Trickle back up in 8th spot. Mark Green back in 15th position.
Amazing. There's still 18 cars on the lead lap. The Marty Ward car, Glenn Allen, and the car number 1 of Hermie Sadler are the other 3 that you didn't see on your top 15 that are on the lead lap.
We're continuing on the left front, and what's left of the left front of the Channel Lock Chevrolet, as they're saying we'll have the green next time by. Phil Parsons just not having a great night. Best finishes for Phil, a couple of 3rd places at Atlanta and Nashville, back-to-back weekends or back-to-back races in March of this year. Had trouble at Talladega, finished 38th, finished 40th the week before at Loudon. Not been a good month for Phil Parsons. Brickyard 400 coverage coming your way tomorrow. RPM today, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the Deuce, ESPN2. Brickyard 400 pre-race activity, noon Eastern Time. We'll have an hour of letting you know what's going to happen for 400 miles on that 3rd annual Brickyard 400. Brickyard 400 live coverage. Bob Jacobs will be there. Paul Page, the host, on ABC, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And RPM tonight, wrapping up all the motorsports action around the world. Kenny Maid and Company, 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Long day, lots of action on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC tomorrow with the 3rd annual Brickyard 400.
See, the lights are off the top of the pace car. Good set here for a restart with maybe 11 laps to go once they get the green.
Now they have a 10-lap rule in NASCAR, but because of the fact that there'll still be 11 to go, they don't use I guess they're not going to use the 10-lap rule. Or maybe they are going to use the 10-lap rule. That would require a single file restart, and it's not going to be single file because Elliott Sadler crowd on their feet for what's going to be a trophy dash here. Lap 190. Randy LaJoy, who led the first 91, pulls away. Mike McLaughlin, Sadler taps the concrete. He's on the outside. He's laps down in the 46 car. There's David Green, Tim Fedewood, a 95 in the 40. Dale Jarrett right behind him.
Fedewood working on David Green as they come off turn 4. It takes a couple laps, it looked like, for David Green's car to really get going. But then after that, he seems to be able to hold his own or pull away. LaJoy has just moved out. And McLaughlin really has a comfortable lead on the 2nd place car. There's the 3rd place car, David Green. Tim Fiedel, then Jarrett, then Setzer. You can see how far ahead the leaders are. Brandon LaJoy, I think he's had the fastest car all night, but he just got, when he made that pit stop, he got back there and he couldn't make passes up through there, but he got the brake that he needed in that wreck and moved all the way to the front, and showing what that Chevrolet will do. He just moved out ahead again.
No doubt about LaJoy having the quickest car here. There's Dennis Setcher's Lipton Team Machine, the Ford Thunderbird, having a good run. Setcher back in 6th spot. David Green, 95 car. Point leader in 3rd position. Randy LaJoy, Ellie Mae pulling away as laps are winding down. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, that 74 car has a spotted history here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. The last 2 years, Johnny Benson drove that car here. 2 years ago, Benson had the race won. Only he cut a tire in the closing laps. He came back here last year, same car, leading the race. Late in the race, he spun in turn 2. So this car's been close to victory lane twice, but it's never been there. Maybe tonight, closing laps, Dave Despain.
Clyde McLeod is the crew chief for Mike McLaughlin, who's come a long way tonight. There's only one guy left to pass. Can you get around him?
Yeah, Dave, it's too bad we had to start so far back. This car just don't qualify good, but the race is good. Mike had to work awful hard tonight. My guys did a hell of a job today. They worked really hard. Royal Oak Charcoal Jackaroo car is just pedaling as best it could. Need more time, but we don't have it.
He did a great job. I don't think he heard the question, but I couldn't hear the answer. He ran 9th here last night. He's had 2 modified wins on this racetrack. He's got 4 laps to catch the leader.
Well, Dave, no doubt that Magic Choose Mike McLaughlin is going to get the award for coming the farthest if he can finish 2nd spot. He started tonight in Chicago, back in 34th spot, and has wound his way through this very, very difficult field. And is going to try to hang on and finish in 2nd position. There's Jeff Purvis as Larry Pearson involved in a little bit of a shunt back there. There's Mark Green, the 37 car. Lots of smoke. Somewhere back in there, a leader's going to come plowing through. There is Fuller. There is Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, that was on the backstretch, that smoke. So there were some cars that got together and somebody got into the wall, but there's nobody on the racetrack into the wall, so we're still going. Just, 2 laps to go.
It'll be white flag next time by for that man right there, Randy LaJoy, 34 years of age from Norwalk, Connecticut. Inching closer and closer on point leader David Green, who currently sits in 3rd spot. LaJoy came in here tonight with 44-point deficit out of turn 4. Randy LaJoy will win the NASCAR Kroger 200. McLaughlin will finish in 2nd spot.
Of course, they're on the white flag now, so they got to come on around, but that's the way they're running, and that's the way it looks like it will finish.
Randy LaJoy, the Fina Chevrolet. Out of turn 4. LaJoy takes the victory. McLaughlin in 2nd position. Back in 3rd is David Green. And yes, the Fina crew can finally celebrate. You did a fine job, Randy. They cue the microphone and tell the young man, who continues to inch in closer and closer on David Green in that point battle.
David Green will come home in 3rd place. So he picks up, 10 points on him here tonight.
So the margin will be now 34 points separating LaJoy and David Green. And we'll come back and talk to this young man who set it on the pole and did everything he had to do, including take this car to victory lane at the Kroger 200. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Our speedball coverage of the NASCAR ESPN Kroger 200 tonight has been brought to you by Chevrolet. One car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR, genuine Chevrolet. By Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. By the more than 1,350 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by the NASCAR Story. To order, call 800-71 NASCAR. And here's Randy LaJoie pulling that Fina Chevrolet into victory lane as the winner of the 15th Annual Kroger 200. He becomes the 13th different winner. And let's go down to victory lane and Bill Weber.
And Randy LaJoie sits in his Fina Chevrolet. Randy, congratulations. That's a great win for you.
Thanks very much. I'd like to dedicate this to Bill Bumgarner's dad. It's a year anniversary. Lost him last year while he was here. Bill's done so much for me, my family, but he's put together one hell of a race team, and I'm just glad to pilot this thing. I want to thank Fina for all they've done for this race team, and you know, this old car, Ellie Mae, she deserved one. She was good here twice, and we might just carve her up and bring her back next year.
Randy, a couple close calls out there, you and the 46 car.
No, it wasn't close. I just got into the bumps there a little bit and pushed up into him. He was a little loose, and I just got into him, but then you know, Hermie in the 23 car, I'm not sure if they're spotters. My spotter caught it real quick, told me to slow down, and they went barreling down in there, and they got into that wreck, and you know, it's the third time it happened. My dad always said it comes in threes. Daytona, I split one. Loudon, I split one, and I split one here. So, hey, good, safe race, and I got to thank the crew again. Thanks.
Randy LaJoie in victory lane in Indianapolis.
Randy led 110 of 200 laps, taking the top 15. LaJoie, McLaughlin, Green, Fina with Jarrett, Setzer, Purvis, Trickle, Jones, and Leslie in the top 10.
Of course, you have Wallace, LePage, on down. You see all the way down through the field.
Baseball tonight coming up next. For Dave Despain, Bill Weber, and Ned Jarrett, I'm Jerry Punch, congratulating Randy LaJoie. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long, everyone.